What's up, kamikaze enthusiasts? It's number one fake Japanese pixelu hipster back at it again with another daily dose of video essay cultural Marxist brainwashing. Let's go. In this video, I'll be destroying with facts and logic the model minority myth pushed by conservative tokens and far-right political pundits. Heads up, we are going to be dealing with right-wing intellectual political arguments here, so there is a high possibility that you will receive brain rot from these 5 IQ Ben Shapiro level political talking points. Another heads up, we are taking on conservative arguments, so obviously there's going to be instances of racism, so if you are sensitive to that, feel free to sit this one out. Anyways, so right now you're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, yo, my boy, P hippie, what even is a model minority meme? Like, what is that? Well, in short, the model minority meme is a cheap whataboutism used by bad faith far-right political actors to diminish the suffering of minorities living in the Western world. It is a cheap, easily debunkable talking point. We will get to the nitty and gritty of that later. With that out of the way, and with that said, well, dear viewer, sit back, relax, and let us destroy the model minority myth with facts and logic.
There are a lot of differences between the US, Germany, and Finland. But if you ask a socialist why it is that Germany and Finland perform better than the US in certain metrics, they'll say it's because the government is bigger and the taxes are higher. That is the answer to prosperity. Is that right though? Are higher taxes and big government really the answer to Germany and Finland's success? It couldn't possibly be because they have overwhelmingly homogeneous populations. Right? Populations that, by the way, also have a higher average IQ and narrower distribution than the US does.
Sweetheart, you clearly don't come from your beloved ethno-states because you have a fucking low IQ. Jesus fucking Christ, how stupid do you have to be to make this fucking argument? Hey Lauren, you dumb fucking brainlet rice whore, you should probably get a refund on your university education because you clearly didn't learn shit. Beta male. A model minority is a minority demographic whose members are perceived to achieve higher degrees of socio-economic success than the population average, thus serving as a reference for other groups to perform better, usually in reference to groups such as the Jewish people, Middle Eastern people, Indian people, and the most associated demographic of people, Asian people. Specifically, the ethnic demographics of Japanese, Chinese, and Koreans are hit the hardest with the model minority meme. In short, minority groups who outperform the ruling class of their respective countries in both economics and social status. Basically, throughout this video, I'm going to make an intersectional case for why the concept of the model minority doesn't make any sense, doing a socio-economic breakdown, explaining why believing in the model minority meme is unbased and cringe. I know on paper the idea of a model minority who rose above racism and systemic economic oppression is a very romanticized idea, but in practice that is not a real thing that happens or exists as it is presented. The model minority meme is so persistent, I'm so sick of hearing these easily debunked memes. These cheap argumentative tactics are really persistent, especially from far-right soy boy beta cuck Nazis and conservative circles. People who bring up the model minority meme are brainlets. While there's nothing new with dipshit conservatives who are brainwashed by their daily dose of political punditry to peddle this misinformation, what really worries me regarding the model minority myth is the fact that a lot of apolitical and centrist-minded people tend to end up reiterating these arguments. Let me give you this example, this 3IQ take from New York Magazine. Today, Asian Americans are one of the most prosperous, well-educated, successful ethnic groups in America. What gives? It couldn't possibly be they maintained solid two-parent family structure, had social networks, and looked after one another, placed enormous emphasis on education and hard work, and thereby turned false negative stereotypes into true positive ones. Could it? It couldn't be that all whites are not racist or that the American dream still lives. The American dream fucking died, and I killed it, you stupid fuck. The American dream was never real, you stupid fuck. Anyway, going forward, I'm basically going to break down the aforementioned argument. Going forward, I'll be breaking down and debunking the following. Asian privilege, the Asian income stat, the culture memes, my family matters, and the just assimilate bro argument. Basically, I will be using Asian people as an example, but these arguments can be applied to different ethnic groups, so please keep that in mind. Part 1. The Asian income stat / Asian privilege.
The people who are celebrating white decline are making a huge mistake, in my opinion. And when whites thrive, the whole world thrives. And when we're gone, it's going to be hell on earth, in my opinion, from what I can see.
Mm-hmm. And I definitely don't want to see whites extinct from the planet at all. And I think if we look at the regressive left, there are active, I think, efforts to try and discourage white people from doing things like having children, to try and encourage population replacement. That I think, if you look at Time magazine, again, like I've tweeted about this before, on one hand you say like there's a cover saying like child-free life, why it's amazing. The next thing they're talking about why we need mass third world immigration because the population levels are too low, right? I don't think you can look at that and say like, oh no, there's no agenda here. I think the regressive left absolutely has an agenda with that.
Oh, I'm coming for you, Lauren. Just you wait until you get a fucking video of your own. An example of someone perpetuating the model minority meme would be the usage of the Asian income stat as a cheap gotcha. Basically, someone would say something to the extent of, well, if systemic racism really is such a huge economic issue for minorities, why is it that Asian people statistically on average have higher household income and likelihoods of educations than every other race? How can white privilege be a real economic advantage if Asians make the highest income? What about Asian privilege? Oppression is now over because Asians now make mega bucks in the West. Maybe that you can cut the last part out, but you get what I'm saying there. Now, that does sound logical and good on paper before you think about it for more than 2 seconds. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a good meme, and it's a very well-crafted gotcha, and it will catch most people off guard. First of all, look at these graphs. What do you notice here? The Asian data doesn't go back as far as any of the other races. We touched upon this in my Yellow Peril video. Well, it's because before the 1960s, in a lot of Western countries, we had a lot of xenophobic anti-Asian immigration laws. So post-1960, when those restrictions were stripped away, Asian immigration skyrocketed. Now, think by and large, what type of people get selected and are able to immigrate to the West? People who already have the ability to move to places like Australia from faraway countries like China are handpicked by the government, probably because they are already well-educated and already affluent and wealthy. See, conservatives and Nazi rice whore tokens like Lauren, Chen, and rice queens like Andy No are dishonest, bad faith actors, so they will take a look at these graphs and call it a day. La memes, culture, econ stat, let's go. It literally takes more than 3 seconds of research and it's already all curated on the websites ready to go. But at the end of the day, these political pundits will willfully omit this information to push their political agendas. Asian countries aren't seeing accurate representation of Asian immigration. They're only seeing the hand-picked, highly wealthy, already educated, affluent people who just immigrated. The Asian immigrants we get in the West are the ones who have the luxury to move and pay for uni. This is what is being represented in the average income statistics. The averages are rooted and reflected in previous anti-Asian xenophobic laws. Furthermore, if you go to websites like Pew Research and break down how these statistical categories like white, black, and Asian are formed, they disclaim up front that Asian is a very broad category covering ethnicities from Japanese, Indian to Burmese. So this Asian average income statistic is the average of a dozen different ethnicities with wildly different incomes. They clarify the broadness of the category Asian in the data leads to overrepresentation and makes the average level of income look larger than it actually is. Furthermore, also having a high income does not exempt you from racism. It's not the same thing as the academic definition of white privilege. Do you think all the anti-Asian hate crimes are going to be stopped if these people just showed their attackers their financial quarterly results? Of course not. Selective recruitment of highly educated and already wealthy immigrants has been the reason for Asian people's success in the West. Not my culture, not my family values, not hard work. Furthermore, it has been statistically proven that second-generation Asians, as in Asians born in the West, make around the same, sometimes lower, as white people born in the West. Alright, I'm done. That's enough. My brain's fucking rotten from looking at all these fucking graphs. Oh, that's what happens when you fucking actually do your research and cite your sources, you stupid fucking cunt. God, I fucking hate Lauren Chen, dude. What just a single cell organism of a human being. Like, imagine just sitting up there on fucking camera, just rambling full stream of consciousness every fucking day and just not saying anything of substance and not even citing the fucking nonsense you say in your videos. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, bro, this is why I hate women. Part 2. My family matters. Just assimilate, bro.
Same with his wife that he brought over, not my biological grandmother, she died, but didn't speak English either. They lived in buildings where a lot of the older residents, none of them spoke English. And I think language is a huge indicator of someone's assimilation level. If you can't talk to the population surrounding you, then it's a pretty good bet that you're not on the same page with most civic issues or cultural issues. Things like that. And with the Asian community, we're not really talking about an issue of religion, since like most Asians are secular, but just culturally, there's a huge problem with people not talking to each other, despite the fact that they live maybe streets down from each other.
Okay, I think that was a hugely dishonest answer.
While I'm listening to you talk about these things, I can't help but think that, you almost sound sort of like a center-left kind of advocate, which I never thought I would hear myself say, that I might be more right-wing than Richard Spencer, but
Like, this is never over! I win! They fucking lose! That's how the world fucking works! Little fucking kites! They get ruled by people like me! Little fucking octoroons! My ancestors fucking enslaved those pieces of fucking shit! I rule the fucking world! Those pieces of shit get ruled by people like me! They look up and see a face like mine looking down at them! That's how the fucking world works! We are gonna destroy this fucking town!
that I might be more right-wing than Richard Spencer, but your problem with the interview was that Richard Spencer came across too well, that he represented his points too reasonably. And I mean, has it occurred to you that maybe he isn't exactly what the media has been trying to push? I mean, because that's a very interesting criticism.
Really, bitch? Really? I'm gonna press X to doubt on this one, you fuckhead.
My ancestors fucking enslaved those pieces of fucking shit! I rule the fucking world!
Oh god, I hate these fucking arguments. Hard work and strong family values cannot simply overcome systemic economic issues like racism. Asians aren't on average doing okay today in comparison to blacks and Hispanic Hispanic communities. Fuck. Asians aren't on average doing okay today in comparison to black and Hispanic communities because of their culture or because they try harder to assimilate. Thai culture is very different from Chinese culture, Japanese culture is very different from Philo culture. Every Asian race has its own language and cannot easily be understood by other Asian races. Some Asian countries like India have 22 official languages and 150 languages spoken by a sizable population. This is why the model minority is so shit. It unfairly puts pressure on different Asian races who may not fit a certain archetype to assimilate into a culture and give up whatever individuality that makes them unique.
Of who they think should be disagreeing with them, you get even more of an attack, right? Because then I'm called things like an Uncle Chen. Candace Owens is called really terrible things, I'm sure.
But what is it that they want you to believe as a person with some Asian heritage? What is it that they want you to believe? Because it's a little bit different than where they can say to gay people, see, we are the ones who got you right, so you better bow to us forever.
Yeah.
Or black people, we're giving you this or that. What is it? Because Asians have been by and large extremely successful due to hard work and family and all those things.
Yeah,
so what is it that they want you to believe?
They want us to believe that white people don't accept us, still see us as other. I've had progressives tell me that the only reason that conservatives watch me is because they think I'm white, or that I'm trying to be white, or that they're tokenizing me. They're propping me up as a way to say, see, I'm not racist, which is really...
Yes, that is why people watch you, Lauren.
one of the most racist things I've ever heard, and that's...
No, we've hurt our feelings, fellas. Unfortunately, we've hurt our feelings. Too bad facts don't care about your feelings. It's emancipation and equality not on their terms. I wouldn't expect white immigrants to Japan to give up everything that makes them unique and give up their British culture. I don't understand why it's expected for fucking Japanese people who immigrate to the West to do that, but you know, I didn't make the rules, I just commentate on them on the internet. There's no academic proof that Asians are smarter or more hardworking than other races. Asian skulls don't have special bumps that make us more fucking memey and smarter. I don't know where these came from. Something like more than 2 centuries of black enslavement doesn't end overnight just because you have a wife and 2 kids.
Well, it's funny because I think you know this about me. My general disposition is
Your general disposition is that you don't have a fucking brain, Dave.
One of the most racist things I've ever heard. And
Yeah, Lauren, because you totally would have a platform if you were a white person. Your race has nothing to do with the fact that you have so many fucking subscribers. Nothing, no. Bro, your boyfriend's not even hot. I got a better chin. What can I say, bro? Does your boyfriend even drive a V8 supercar, bro? Hey guys, sorry if my voice sounds a little different. I am currently hungover and I am recording this part separately. So yeah, that's why my voice is fucked. Anyway, on with the video. Hopefully let's power through and we'll be okay. Part 3. Some memes. Anyway, so I'm just gonna read off some fucking memes that I found. I came across all these while doing research for the videos. Let me read you some of these good memes. This gem comes from Nancy MGTOW website, Return of Kings. This website is known for its high-end journalism and classic hits such as 35 pretty girls who became fat and ugly, 7 ways modern women treat men like dogs, and their beloved classic, the damaging effects of Jewish intelligence and activism on Western culture. Jesus. Anyway, so I want to read you this article. Why isn't anyone in the establishment talking about Jewish and Asian privilege? By David C. Brown from April 13th, 2016. This is going to be amazing. Just a little information about David. David is a lifelong dissident, an intellectual rebel. Imagine unironically referring to yourself as an intellectual rebel, dude. Bro, you know Pixel Hipster? That guy, he's an intellectual rebel. He despises political correctness, which replaces real, needy victims with narcissistic leftists out for a free meal. Though still a young man, he has watched society descend into its present morass with sadness, combined with a determination to help make things better. He tweets when there's something worth tweeting here. Well, David Brown sounds like a very interesting person. These critics could also reference individual stances of racism in a country comprising over 300 million people to claim that racial bigotry and white privilege are rife. Whether through a swastika hoax in a university dorm or a random white man beating up an Asian kid. Though such assertions about a society-wide hatred by whites and a system of privilege reserved for them are all drivel. White privilege is nearly as outdated and false as the claim that the sun revolves around the world. It's nothing but a lie liberals tell their children, and worse still, yours, whenever they get their hands on them through popular culture and the education system. Yes. The anti-white cultural Marxists subverting Western civilization with their pop culture and their education system. Oh my. If you like this article and are concerned about the future of the Western world. Hey, no, bro, mate, don't get me wrong. I'm concerned about the fucking future of the Western world, but for completely different fucking reasons, bro. I'm concerned fucking degenerate Nazis like you writing stupid articles and convincing people of completely manufactured reality, dude. I bet this guy unironically believes fucking Trump won the election. Like, what the fuck? Check out Rush's book, Free Speech Isn't Free. It gives you insight on how the globalist establishment is attempting to marginalize masculine men with a leftist agenda that promotes censorship, feminism, and sterility. Bro, I can't wait to sterilize every single masculine man on this planet, dude. Bro, if I hated masculinity so much, would I look like such a fucking Chad, bro? It also shares key knowledge and tools that you can use to defend yourself against social justice attacks. What the fuck are you talking about, mate? Jesus. Anyway, this is a lovely comment from Joe Smith, 06811. So take it your thought process all the way. They stand head and shoulders in a separate galaxy really from blacks. In a separate galaxy really from blacks? Was that a statement or a question? Yes. We are all in separate galaxies from the blacks. Cause you know, cultural Marxism. Smug. Oh god, I can't read this. I'm gonna die. Smug Jews and Asians. Smug Jews and Asians don't go there though, because even they benefit from pushing the myth of discrimination. Fucking disgusting. Guys, they're right? Racism is over, okay? Obama fixed racism. It doesn't even exist anymore, bro. It's crazy. The real racists is Antifa. The organization known as Antifa that has been funded by the deep state, as we know. Part 3, conclusion. I think there is a lot of truth to the model minority myth, but not in the way it is presented by Nazis and conservatives like Chen. I do think some ethnic groups who migrate to the West do have very hardworking cultures and put a lot of emphasis on family. But at the end of the day, I feel like this kind of works towards my argument. Middle Eastern, Asian, and Indian immigrants need to be hardworking and work 10 times harder than the dominant ruling class of people just to be treated with a modicum of respect. Especially since for centuries, immigrants have been demonized by the media and had to deal with legislation barring them from doing certain economic things, such as owning property. Single-cell organisms like Chen, who use these talking points, fail to take into account intersectionality. They hyper-focus on one part of a socio-political status to obfuscate all the other issues. To play devil's advocate here, it's not just right-wing people's fault as well. Lefties are also to blame here when it comes to the model minority myth and especially Asian stuff. Lefties don't give a fuck, especially white Twitter lefties. If it's about black people, or black people, I love black people. If it's about black people or trans people, they'll shout out their fucking lungs. But Asian people, Indian people, Middle Eastern people, nah, fuck that. They're conservatives, fuck them. They also buy into the model minority meme narrative as well as the conservatives. I'm not saying all lefties, I'm just saying fucking libcucks on fucking Twitter, the fucking libtard, soya boy, beta cuck sodomites. I'll give you a disgusting example. Here's a bunch of white, privileged Antifa kids openly being racist towards an Asian guy because they thought he was Andy No. Don't get me wrong, I fucking hate Andy No, and fuck that guy. If you see him in the street, please give him shit. But still, this, yikes bro, this is just straight up racist and doesn't look good. I feel like Asian people are one of the most cucked groups of people out there because they do buy into this soy boy beta cuck mentality. They wholeheartedly believe in the model minority meme. This idea if you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, put up with all the racism and lick the boots of the white man, you too could also be one of the good ethnics. I too can also be a good model minority if I just work hard enough and I just suck up and assimilate. No self-awareness, no intersectional systemic analysis of your own material conditions, just another fucking wage cuck to the white man. Beta male! Every time I think of the model minority myth, I am constantly reminded of that Asian pig who just stood there as that white copper stood on the neck of George Floyd for 8 minutes. If you're Asian, just take a good look at yourself and your behavior. Do you want to be that guy? Are you like that guy in any way? Because the way I see it, the vast majority of Asian people in the West would have just stood there as well.
Feeling like an almost there, but I'm not. 音もない風に漂う bones 途切れて消えない声の方何も知らないまま戻れないでしょう同じ色の目に映る違う色の息を吐く You're gonna make me
Hey, welcome to the end of the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me your opinion. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Are you just gonna write a mean comment in the first 10 seconds and then not listen to my video? Because I know who the fuck you people are, and your comments are so stupid. Anyway, yes, so we're gonna end the video. You can find me on Twitter at pixel_hipster, on Instagram at pixel_hipster, and at Twitch at pixel_hipster. I will maybe start streaming if I can get a better PC. Speaking of it, if you want to fund this operation, go over to patreon.com/pixelhipster and give me money so I can fucking actually have a good PC and a camera and not just shitty fucking equipment. Anyway, today, if you go over to my Patreon, you can ask a question, like this lovely question from Retro and Chill. Retro and Chill asks, do you think the online left has a problem with their understanding of how the economy works? Yes. Twitter lefties are the most stupid, uneducated fucking morons on the planet. If you're talking there is a huge body of academic work regarding leftist economic theories and policies and whatever. But when we're talking about discussions of the economy and online spaces, a lot of it just kind of devolves into Lamau communism now, bro, and it fails to take into account a lot of historical evidence, a lot of statistical evidence, and a lot of anecdotal evidence. And a lot of Twitter lefties just want to fucking virtue signal on Twitter about how fucking great gay luxury space communism would be, and it's kind of cringe and it's kind of fucking sad because it's quite self-evident. A lot of people on Twitter have not even read a fucking book. But that's just everyone, that's just online lefties. I wouldn't say that about IRL people. Alright, that's me. I'm done. Oh my god, my voice is fucking gone. Alright, see you next week, boys. Jesus Christ.